Hi, 8th graders. So right now for your ELA and history assessment, I'm going to review some testing features and what the screen should look like for you. So once you log on to Illuminate and you enter your login information and access code, you should pull up a screen that looks like what you are seeing right now. In the top, it should say 2019-2020, 8th grade ELA prerequisite formative assessment, reading literature, or reading informational text. You should see that you are signed in as yourself. You can see I'm signed in as myself, Rita Flynn. You should see the same title. You will see the number of questions, and you should also see the date and time started. This will help your teachers know for your CTL grade and to keep track as you are completing the assessment. So once you have checked all of that information, in the upper right-hand corner, you will click Continue to the test. Now when you open up the test, you should see a couple of things. The first thing you will see is that there's a drop-down menu, and it has all of the questions here. So if at any point you need to kind of jump around, go back, maybe look ahead to see what's coming, you can do all of that there. You should also notice as you are completing this assessment that there's a pause button. If say you needed to take a break for a moment, go to the bathroom, you can pause it and come back. There's also the feature of you can click ahead in the question when you are ready to move on. If you don't want to use the drop down, you can just use this little blue button to go forward or to go backwards. Once you've gone forward, you can see it moves on to question 2. If I wanted to say go back to question 1, I would click there once again. Now, some other features that will probably be helpful for you during this test are you can see there's a zoom. So if you'd like to make the font bigger, you can see it will increase in size. Now what that means though for you is that you will have to scroll a bit more, right? The more you zoom, the longer the text will seem. You also will notice that there are directions on the right-hand side with questions, and that there's the text on the left, just like whenever we take a test. Now, some other really important features I want you to pay special attention to are in this right-hand corner. If you click this little pencil and notepad feature, you can see this is where you can take notes on what you have read. So before the test, we reviewed with you that you should be annotating for main ideas and key details, questions, clarifications, everything like that, as well as for the fiction text, signposts. So here I could write signposts, and I might notice as I'm reading there's a contrast or contradiction, it's unexpected, and then ... You can refer to this anytime, but you should be using this notepad in order to earn full credit on the assessment. The other thing is, as you are testing, maybe there's a question that you want to make sure you come back to. You can flag it, and then you know when you're reviewing or finishing to come back to that question. So we should see on your screen while you are doing this the notepad up so that you can complete annotations. That's clicking this little icon right here. Now the directions, read the question and click on a word or phrase to make a selection. Your response will be saved automatically. So this is not a multiple choice question. You need to click, you can see it highlights yellow, and then that is your answer. Once you have made that selection, scrolling through, looking at all your options, then what you will do, after reading carefully, you selected 2, you will click next, and you can move to the next question. Now this question is just a typical multiple choice, but there are some different features. Once again, if I want my notepad in front of me, I can see all of my saved notes that I took while I was annotating while reading the selection. Again, that flag is there if I want to remember to come back, but I can also use answer strike. So maybe this question I know makes no sense. I'm going to eliminate that. I just click off if I don't want it. Click it on as an eliminate, and then I am able to process of eliminate all of my answers. Can turn that off. Go to the next question. So on and so forth. Remember, each time you can pull up your notes to check. Read the little excerpt, scroll down. Now this is a short response, right? So what is the author's central idea in this selection? Use details to support your answer. So I click, since it is a written response, into the written response box. I begin typing. If at any point I want to undo that typing, I can use that. I can use the backspace on my computer. There is bold, right? If I want a bolder font. There is italicize. There is underline. I also have an indent. Remember, if I'm responding, my first sentence should have an indent. And then maybe get out of the full screen if I didn't need the screen as large. Again, that is up to you. All of these features are available. If I wasn't ready to finish my writing or I wanted to read it one more time before going back, again, I could flag the question. Moving on, you can see after the short and written response, some questions have a part A and a part B. Please make sure that you answer both part A and part B, again using all features, referring back to your annotations, flagging the question if you need to, eliminating what you know doesn't make sense. Always making sure to scroll, referencing back to your text, which will always be in front of you. And then again, we have another example of a written question. So, once again, I have the text box. I need to click inside of it. I can bold, I can italicize and underline as necessary, but I need to respond to the question using evidence from the text on the left, perhaps my notes where I have annotated. Maybe I flag it to come back to it. And then again, this is a different question. It's not multiple choice, it's checking a box. So which statements describe the relationship? Select 3 options. So I'm not just going to have one, I'm going to have up to 3 options, perhaps striking out what does not make sense. Now if I've answered every question, because I'm on question number 6, I can click this blue button, and I will see as I am finishing the test, I have these flagged, so I'm going to want to go back to them to make sure that I go back and review it. So this question I flagged, I hadn't completely answered it perhaps, or clicked enough sentences, but once I have fully answered it, I check, okay, I did it. I'm going to unflag it, and I can go back to reviewing and finishing my test. Now, once I have checked all of the flags, I can click Finish, and it will ask me if I have unanswered questions. I would want to go back and I would want to answer all of those questions. But if I've answered every question, I click Finish, and that is how I submit. Once you finish it, it should say you have completed your test. And all you have to do then is you can just return to that opening space and you will be all set and done with your assessment. Please feel free while testing to reach out to any of your ELA teachers, or if this is the history assessment, to Mr. Trexler.